Gibson 79 RTV, restored. I re-lacquered it for the client. It had a crackling fault, crackle. When you hit a power cord, the amp would have a ferocious crackle in it, and so that took some checking out. I had to basically resolder all the leads in the chassis until I got to a point where I found a capacitor that had actually broken internally. It was 0.001 to 30 volt, that is, and the wire had broken off inside the capacitor, so it took me a while to find that one, but this is rocking. Beautiful amp, absolutely beautiful. The GA30 that I worked on recently is sort of like a nice old vintage car. It's not the sort of amp you're going to use on a regular basis. It's nice to sort of keep in the garage and take it out on Sundays. This amp, on the other hand, is absolutely beautifully designed. It's got all sorts of amazing features, and it sounds fantastic. Beautiful break up at a certain point. The reverb goes on for miles. This is not even on half reverb. Yes, well, enough of that. Got a very nice tremolo in it. We've got a switch on top here for stereo or mono. There it's mono. There it's stereo. But really the idea of that is you know, so that you can get stereo separation. There is two separate amps in here, and Jensen speakers. This is just an absolute classic of an amp. Absolutely beautiful. One of the nicest amps I think I've ever played through in my life. As a final thought, the polarity switch no longer does anything. It's not needed. I rewired this, and I also rewired the power, and also rewired the power on on another amp recently, an old Gibson. And it's interesting. People had put three prong plugs on them, so they changed out the plug for a 3-pin. And that's a good safety feature, a very good thing to do. But there's not much point doing it and leaving the death cap wired in as part of the system. I know it means that the amp is no longer stock, but you know, you don't want that stuff in there. You just don't want it in there. You want it to be safe and usable. Otherwise, what point is it? If you want a museum piece, well, you may as well just sit it in the corner and put a cover over it and never look at it and never play it. Well, you can look at it maybe, but if you're putting in a 3-pin plug, I highly recommend that you don't need a ground lifter anymore for a start, so there's no point keeping a ground polarity switch as part of the circuit. It's just adding a dangerous element to the amp, and the reason we no longer put those things in is because they were not that safe in the first place. So anyway, that's my little rant over with, and absolutely beautiful amp. If you can get your hands on one of these, you will not be disappointed. A little bit of hum coming from the power transformer. Nothing can be done about that unless we want to pull the transformer out and try and re-lacquer the plates in it or something like that. But it's all functioning beautifully for now. So there is another happy story off the workbench at SandersAmps.